What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video. Today we got a really good one. If you're struggling to catch fish, stay tuned because this one's really going to help you out. This rig, bait, whatever you want to call it, catches fish on every day of the year. It's just too natural to not get bit. Now, if you're new to the channel, you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button down there. Join the Average Angler community where we are having a big tackle giveaway at 5,000 subscribers. We're less than 200 away, which means the Average Angler is going to be giving away a bunch of his tackle here real soon. If you want in on it, you got to subscribe. Drop a comment down below. Let me know you're new to the channel. Doesn't affect your chances of winning. We will have a video that you'll need to comment on and like when we get a little closer. But today we've got this really good video about baits that will just get bit. Straight up, they're going to get bit under any conditions, any time of year. Well, quite honestly, they'll always catch fish. There's not a whole lot of baits that we can say that about. And I'm going to even venture into the realm of saying that not even a drop shot will do what this bait will do. And now through March, I'd advise everybody to have one rigged and on the deck at all times. Now, we got some variations and all that kind of stuff, but these things produce, and there's a reason they produce, right? And that is little swim baits, right? We're gonna go over these. This one here, well, let's start with the big guns first, okay? This is a Cool Baits underspin here. 3/16, that's as light as I'll really go on the underspin. You got the drag of the bait plus the drag of the blade on the fall. So that's pretty, 3/16, it's gonna fall a lot like it's an 1/8 because it's got the tail and then the blade. Okay, compared to some of these other ones I'm going to show you. And this is a Phat swimmer, okay? This is in the 2.8. The 2.8 and the 3.3 are really my go-tos when the bite gets tough, and pretty much throughout winter, to be honest with you. And I do have an alternate bait that I'm gonna show you towards the end because that's kind of a secret weapon of mine, and I don't like giving things up all at once, you know what I mean? Okay, so how are we going to fish these? There is that other, whoops. Yeah, there's that other head. This is the ledge knocker when I don't want an underspin, okay? And you guys determine what you need, where you're at. It can vary. Sometimes the underspin, the blade on there is a little intimidating to the fish. Me personally, I kind of like to go with the incognito stealth mode, if you will. I really like to use the ledge knocker. And if I'm looking for something a little more compact, because the way this is designed, I will go to the wrecking ball. And just to be transparent here, if I only had one, it would be the wrecking ball, okay? Which is just the Phat Pack's version of a ball head swim bait head. I like that. Quite honestly, if they are in stealth mode, I like to compact everything as much as possible. And I just think a lead head, well, this isn't a wrecking ball because they're in the boat. I had to grab one out of my tackle, but just a ball head, right? I like a compact hook in there. I don't like something that's too big because then it overpowers. That bait there is a 2.8. If I got a hook coming out way back here, it's gonna take away some of the waggle and roll from the bait. So keep in mind, anytime you're picking or choosing a jig head for your minnow or swim bait type rigs, the further that hook goes back, if you're getting too close to the back, you're taking away some of the natural action of the bait. So I do like a small, compact, and I want to say happy Friday to everybody. Pliny Elder. This is today's little brouhaha, and this stuff is, it's quite good. Yeah, I think that's like $7. Okay, so this time of year, much like the drop shot, I'm going to go to a spinning rod for all this stuff, that 731 medium light, okay? I want the tip to be able to absorb a lot of that stuff when I'm retrieving this, because 9 times out of 10, I'm either throwing it through a bait ball and letting it pendulum on slack line, but with the reel engaged. And then the other time I'm fishing it on the bottom. I want it bumping bottom at all times. Now with that blade, you get a little bit of noise, you get a little bit of flash. You'll see that's a gold blade. I'll fish the gold and overcast. I'm getting ready to fish on Sunday. It's supposed to rain, so I'm going with the gold blade. The other option is silver. I like the silver when the sun's out. I keep it pretty simple in that aspect. Doesn't mean I might not change if it's not working, but most of the time, if the underspin's not working, I'm going to a ball head. I'm just gonna quiet everything down, go to a ball head, get into my stealth mode, and quite honestly, I've always been able to catch fish on that ball head with a little 2.8 or 3.3, and I've got an alternate. I'm telling you, you guys are going to want to see this because this is special. And we're just going to retrieve slowly on the bottom. We want it bumping into things. We want that rod tip to start to load a little bit so it accelerates when it releases, pops over that rock. It's going to kind of shoot up a little bit and then get back down into its regular retrieval pattern. We do want changes. They just need to be a little more subtle as we near in towards winter and things get a little tougher. It just natural. All right, colors. I really like this color. This is called hologram shad. It's something a little bright, and I'll be the first to tell you, okay? Here's the thing with Phat packs. This is a 30 pack, so there are 30 swim baits in there, okay? The tail can be a little kinked. It doesn't affect the way the bait works. If you're worried about it, you can always boil some water, dip it in the water. It'll straighten right out. But here's the thing. There's no resistance on it at all. When you start getting the water resistance and that tail starts wagging, everything's normal, okay? It's not a problem. I'm just being honest with you guys. Sometimes we worry about stuff way too much because other companies may say that, oh, this is what you have to do. Well, no, it's not, because that tail is made to go like this. Guess what it's going to do when you got it swimming through the water? That tail's going to go like this. All right? Very simple. Okay, so where are we going to fish these baits? Well, I like to fish them in quite a few areas. Points are number one, right? Points the most obvious spot in the wintertime. And hey, they're not hard to get on because quite honestly, the fishing traffic's really decreased a lot in the wintertime. And this can be great the rest of the year too. You downsize your swim bait. These are just sizes of baits that get bit. Okay, they're very natural. They're unobtrusive. They don't offend any fish, if you will. And they get bit. So points is number one. And I really like covering points very well, especially the first couple of the day, because oftentimes they'll tell you if the fish are positioned on one side or the other or on the top. And once we figure that out, hey, we can just go run that, no problem. Outside of points, I like deep flats. I've talked about deep flats quite a bit in the last few weeks. Deep flats are kind of, they're uncharted territory with a lot of people. Now, people that know, they know. Most people, it's not talked about, okay? Deeper flats are very, very important. And we're talking about deeper flats where it's flat, and maybe it's, say it's 20 feet. Let's just say 20 for a round number. But when that flat drops off, right? We want those flats that drop off into deeper water here. These fish up here on this 20-foot flat are generally climbing up for one reason and one reason only, and that's to feed. They're going to get up on that flat to feed. They're going to go up, they're going to feed, and then they're going to go back down. Anytime you have these flats, that deeper water is there. It's where they retreat to for their peace and quiet. They fill their tummy. It's just like a baby going to bed, right? Except the bass never sleeps. He just goes back down into that water where he can just hover and wait until the next day when he's hungry again. Basically, I think that's how it works. I'm not a fish, but just kind of, yeah. All right, So getting into, let's see, that's not all. We got other places. I like steep banks, steep rocky banks, but if they just inevitably go down to 100 feet, that's not really what we want. We want something that meets bottom and creates an edge. Now, I've talked about in a lot of my videos, edges. Edges are bass magnets, okay? This area right here where this meets this is an edge. The reason they like edges, it makes it easy for them to trap food. Push up against the edge, there's nowhere else for them to go. It's an easy meal. So drop-offs that hit that edge and they're in the right depth of water. And in the wintertime, I'm gonna say it's 20 to 50 feet generally. If you're on a spotted bass fishery, it can go quite a bit deeper. I know getting much deeper than 20 feet freaks some people out, but the bottom line is it's very effective. Now, this ledge knocker bait is meant to, as you see the design of the head there, it's meant to crawl over stuff and through stuff. Okay, so this technically is supposed to swim through stuff a little better. Am I convinced on it? Look, Phat Packs isn't the only one that has these. These are out on the market. There's quite a few companies that have them out there. It's a cool head. I'm still out there on the fence about my feelings on it. Most of the time, I still feel like I get away just fine with a ball head. Maybe I snag a little more, maybe I don't. I don't know. I do feel like the ledge knocker snags a little less. So if you have a lot of rock, maybe the ledge knocker is a solution to help you out with that kind of stuff. I do like ball head, like the wrecking ball from Phat Pack Baits. And guys, I'll put a link in the description for 20% off of all Phat Pack products if you want to give them a try. But I promised you my sleeper bait, okay, and here it is. Okay, that is a 3-inch on a ball head. And I'm going to show you, this is a different ball head. Okay, so this is kind of special because I'm throwing this where there's a lot of big fish. So you'll see the hook here, but notice it doesn't come back very far. And when I'm rigging it, I'm putting it at a slight angle. So where I'm entering the front, I'm going low on the nose to go in, and then I'm angling it towards the top where it's going to come out. You see how there's an uphill angle there, okay? Now, this head was actually designed for scoping. I don't know, I don't use it for scoping, but I really liked it for my bottom bouncing swim baits, and especially, I'm sorry, that is a 3-inch Spark Shad, okay? That head is a Buckeyes G-Stroll. So it is a strolling head, and you will notice that the lead comes up on the head there, and these might be fine for strolling, I don't know. But what I can tell you is it comes through rock pretty well. And generally, I'm fishing this bait a little heavier than I do the other stuff. And I don't know exactly why, but that's where I found the success. This is a 5/16 ounce Buckeyes Lures G-Stroll. And I also have some 3/8 ounce. Now, I'm still throwing it on a spinning rod. I really like the feel of that 731, and I want those fish, which tend to be a little less aggressive this year, to have that soft rod tip so that they can just come up and suck that bait in and then just kind of meander off. That rod tip will slowly start to load, and I'll know something's up. No problem. You reel down, let the rod load more, and then you set. You don't have to set real hard. These hooks are super sharp, but there's something about that Spark Shad, okay? I stick with the Phat Pack baits most of the time, and I'm going to tell you why in a second over the Kitech. But there's something about this bait. It really shines at a very slow swim. You just want to crawl this thing across the bottom, and you can just pitch it out in the water and just slowly move it, and you'll see what I mean. This bait will also rock a little side to side. Okay, it's very subtle, but you can see it when you move it really slow. I don't like these swim baits this time of year up in the water column. If that's what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to an A rig, whether it be bladed or non-bladed. Okay, this type of rig is when I'm going to the bottom, and I just find that there's always fish related to the bottom. Now there might be a few fish up here chasing this bait ball. There might be a few fish over there chasing that bait ball, but the main deal is there's always fish hanging around the bottom as we near and get into winter, and this bait just gets bit. That is the idea of going out fishing, right? Now the Spark Shad, for some reason, has produced my biggest bites. I don't know why, don't know what it is, and sometimes, you know, we just need to say, I don't need to know why, I just know it does. And that bait does it for me, okay? It's a little wider profile. It's a little more natural kind of looking and shape, if you will. It's got some fins on the side, which might have something to do with the way it planes down in the water and how it rocks side to side as you're slowly retrieving it. It just gives it a real natural look. And the fish, I mean, let me tell you, when I get bit on that thing, there's no doubt in your mind what happened. I mean, they hit it hard, which is a really pleasant thing to feel as we are nearing winter time and winter temperatures and winter patterns, because a lot of baits, they don't hit that aggressively. They just kind of suck them up and meander off. Well, my experience with the Spark Shad is they hammer it. Now, I do want to say it's not the end-all be-all, and there's times where that little freaking Phat Pack 2.8 Phat swimmer is going to outproduce it. And if you have a bunch of bigger shad on your lake, then you may need to go to the 3.3. But I like to keep it down to these smaller ones because we're talking real finesse stuff, guys. Remember, we started out with an underspin, which my concern is that we're getting into a territory where it's a little too offensive to the fish, which is why we're going to a ball head or the ledge knocker to get away from the underspin. We really just want to take the noise away and the flash. Nothing extra. We want it very subtle. But there's times where we need that underspin, and they're really going to chow on the underspin model. Now that, as I mentioned, is the Cool Baits underspin. It's pretty much the only one I use. I pretty much stick with the 3/16 and the quarter. This time of year, the quarter typically is going to be a little bigger bait, 3.3 and up. That's going to be when fish are a little more aggressive. All right, like I said, I'm throwing it on that spinning rod. I am throwing 18 to 22 pound all might braid to a 10 pound trilene 100% Berkeley fluorocarbon. Reason being is I just have found, and I throw FC Sniper, I've got tons of it over there. I just find the Berkeley 100% fluorocarbon is my leader material. It's very abrasion resistant. It's stronger than its stated line weight breaking point, if you will. So 10's closer to 12 to 14 breaking point, maybe even 15. It's very abrasion resistant. It has not let me down in 20 years of using it. I'm thinking it's 20. I'm thinking back about, yeah, I think it's around 20 where that Berkeley 100% fluorocarbon came out. And quite honestly, there's a reason they haven't changed it in that amount of time, because it is super strong stuff. Okay. I'm Sean the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.